Hey everybody, Mike Tabbert here with the Level Up Golf Academy, and I have my student here, Alex Mara, and we're working on a little bit of short game today. So Alex has been working with short game and a longtime student with me. Simply, we're going to toss the golf balls around the green, and we're going to walk through kind of all parts of the short game. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go towards this one hole here, Alex. So all 9 golf balls, we're going to try to get up and down to this one spot, okay? Really, we're going to play them all as they lie. Okay. So as we throw them around, we're going to be throwing them in the rough. Some might be in the fringe on the fairway cut here, but we're going to play them as they lie, and we'll talk about obviously how you should address it and play each individual shot. So I like to do this. I just call it kind of the sprinkler. We're just kind of chucking it around. So we're going to chuck one there, and we're going to keep moving around. Some maybe down the hill over here, some little short-sided stuff. One kind of further up over here, and we'll just keep moving our way around for some tougher chips. Okay, so as we go around here, what clubs do you have here that we're going to be using?
Currently, I have a 56, a 60, and a pitching wedge.
Okay, so let's grab all 3 of those, and we're going to go over to our first spot. Okay. Kind of give me your interpretation of your lie. Give me your interpretation on kind of what your plan would be.
Well, it's setting up pretty good, but downhill, so going to be fast. So I would more than likely use my 60 or a 56, but up in the stance.
Okay, so ideally, where would you want to leave this golf ball? Do we want to be short of the hole, long of the hole?
Definitely short of the hole.
Okay. So we have a little bit of breeze against us. That should help us in this shot.
Yeah.
We have a decent lie, so we definitely should have some opportunity to definitely leave it short. But definitely, I agree, 60 degrees is going to be the way to go. So I want to go through kind of your rehearsals, make sure that you're feeling it right. But where exactly would you find your landing spot to be? Because we always want a landing spot. Make sure that we know kind of the trajectory that we're going to use to fly it to that spot, ultimately then to let it roll to the hole.
Yeah, in my mind, I'm visualizing almost even just landing it
right there.
Or unless I was trying to get more of a higher loft.
Okay. So are you playing this more as like a chip off the back foot, or are we going more
in my mind it was
front?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I guess in my mind it was somewhat a little bit back or like center of the stance versus like a flop or anything, just to be more accurate.
Okay. So green is definitely a little speedy. We're going downhill. Definitely, since you want to leave it a little short, I would probably go more to the middle. Okay. You know, for our first one, kind of we get a good lay of the land here, but we don't want to run the risk of going long and going on the other side and missing it. So let's go with kind of those rehearsals. We got our plan.
And then just go for it?
Yeah, go for it.
That was a little short of where I wanted to be, but might end up okay.
Yeah, in all honesty, that worked out. So that told us a little bit of something as we keep going around. It's a little faster, definitely rolled pretty quick off the downslope.
Yeah.
Definitely got away with one a little bit there, but frankly, it was good planning that worked out for us. So let's keep moving around before we start getting too much and start to see a couple things. So same questions here. What do we see for our plan?
Well, somewhat this one isn't as downhill, but still is going to be fast. Just knowing how quick this green is, and probably breaking right to left.
Okay. Do you feel like, again, you're still wanting to leave this short of the hole? Because, again, when we're doing up and downs and when we're out playing, it's more about how do we get this in a good position to get up and down.
Yeah.
If we get up and down 2/3 of the time, you're almost in the level of a tour player. So anything that's we're around the green, we can get up and down, you know, that is the goal. We'd love to be obviously chipping them in and, you know, being 1 foot away for easy tap-ins. But we want to leave ourselves on the right side of the hole for the easiest putt. So as a right-handed golfer, that leaves us as more of an uphiller, and a right to left putt, statistically speaking, are going to be a little bit better for us to be able to make our putts. So where is that for us? So that would mean that we have to leave it to the left or a little on the short side of the hole, because it does kind of ride up on that ridge behind. So as we hit the shot, definitely short of the hole is better than running it past. We want to go with stick with the 60, or are we thinking we're going to switch?
Probably do 56.
So,
or I could do 60.
One thing I think that does change this a little bit, this ball's sitting down a little bit worse than the other. You got this tuft of grass right behind it. So I would stick with the 60.
Okay.
Just because, we want to leave it on the short side. We're not going to get as much spin. Okay. Probably, again, almost the equivalent amount of roll we might see on the other one, just because we're not going to have much backspin at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I'm babying it. I'm getting too lit in my head there, I think.
Okay. So we're in our head a little bit. 2 chunky shots.
Yep.
Okay. Let's do one more before we start going in. I want to give us one more opportunity to see if we can make a change. So now we're on a downslope, a further carry. How are we going to get this one to stop?
We're gonna have to get a little more wrist action.
Okay, a little bit more wrist.
Towards the front of the stance.
How about our setup? Are we doing anything with the face? Are we doing anything with ball position?
Open the face, ball towards the front.
Okay, so let's use the wrist, front of our stance. Make sure that we're getting a good descending and delivery to get under the golf ball on this downslope. You're getting up to the golf ball and you're tentative on wanting to hit it hard.
Yeah.
Your natural tendency is to kind of like pull back.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a natural human instinct is to want to recoil, right? I don't want to recoil. I want to make sure that I'm committing. I'm really being accelerated through the golf ball. So we can't have any second guessing or that tentativeness. There you go.
That's going to roll out forever though.
Not too bad. We kept it on this side of the ridge. This was probably the hardest shot of all the three that we've had so far.
Yeah.
All in all, that was basically your best execution.
Sure.
So let's go over to our next one, which is right over here. And I want to talk about kind of that chunkies that we were getting on the first two.
Yeah.
So let's put the club across your shoulders with the club extending off your right side. Turn that club matching to your shoulders. Okay. So now when you stand straight up and down, the club will be straight up and down.
Yeah.
As we bend forward, it's going to match to your shoulder plane here. Okay. So when you start to rotate through the ball, what you're tending to do is you're going to come short and you're going to stop. So that naturally is going to want to leave it out to the right.
Okay.
It's also going to never get past the golf ball. So we're more tipping our shoulders rather than actually turning our shoulders. So I want you to feel like if my hand is here, is up by the golf ball, you're going to come through and actually square the club face to my hand. Okay. So that means you're going to actually turn through the shot, not just dropping down to the ball. So when you're turning your body, that is not allowing you a chance to decelerate because your body is controlling the acceleration, right? The right shoulder is almost going to feel like it comes through and hits the golf ball. Let me go ahead and step in. I'm going to demonstrate this first one, okay? And then I'm going to kick it back and have you hit it. So when I'm stepping in here, this is probably one that's a little downwind behind me.
Yep.
So I got kind of a very little green to work with as well. So I'm probably chipping this really a little bit higher to try to take some of that roll off. So, and the lie is okay, not great, but I can probably get just a little higher ball flight from the front of our stance, but really just like a softer tempoed swing. And really the power's coming from the big muscles up top, not in my arms and wrists. See, that sits down really soft because I'm not applying a large amount of acceleration. I'm just never quitting with the motion. So that's still accelerating because I'm not slowing down. All right, let's see if you can outdo that.
Yeah, that might be rough.
Much better contact, much better swing. Just now we just gotta learn that power. Just gotta learn the power. But that was great. I liked the contact, and I loved how the body moved through that shot. It's easy to commit and rotate when you're going through a long hit.
Yeah.
It's hard on these little ones, and that's where you get kind of quote unquote the yips. Think about if I was to toss a ball, right? If I'm tossing a golf ball here onto the green, I'm never going to go like this and really lurch at it. I'm just going to kind of let my arm swing, right? Let kind of it swing like a pendulum. Your body is the pendulum though. When I start to go back and through, my pullback is on tick and then I hit the ball on top, right? That would be the simplest form of kind of keeping a very good rhythm. We got one down the hill here. So we're on an upslope. What does that give us for an advantage here?
Well, it adds loft.
Well, it definitely adds loft. So we're short-sided, but we definitely have the hill helping us. So this isn't actually as hard of a shot as you might think just by the pin location. And even though you're in the rough, the hill is pretty severe, so you can easily pop it right up. What do you see out of the lie? Not too terrible.
Not too bad.
Yeah. Still thinking 60, or you want to switch to something different?
Probably 60.
All right. Okay, so far that's the leading edge.
Yeah.
Right? Let's give me some another swing where we're going to be swinging with the slope. Give me a practice swing.
Okay.
Make sure that we're getting a good thump, but never feel like the club stops in the hill.
Okay.
Turn your shoulders even when I'm going up the hill. There you go. Still stuck on you.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. More committed though, so you still got away with it. This one's sitting kind of down.
So I'd almost do toe down. And...
Exactly. I like that play. So get the handle really high. So we want to, you know, I call it kind of pulling it up your sleeve. Pull the shaft up your sleeve, getting a very upright shaft angle, getting the toe down, and then I'm really just hitting like a little putt chip. right? With the toe just carving through the rough.
And I hit the pin, but killed it.
Okay, next one right here.
This one's a little more down, I would say, as far as lie, but still can get under it.
Yep. So we're pretty short-sighted here. We want to get some speed on this one so we can kind of get through that poor lie. Probably need to get a little open with the club face.
Okay.
So a little open with the club face, a little bit more lean against the hill. The open club face will obviously give us loft, but also a little bit more bounce, and leaning into the hill will allow it still to get some steepness. Okay. Very nice. Still thinking kind of 60, throw it all the way up on top, or what are you thinking on this one?
I would probably still do 60 just because it's going downhill.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe land top of the hill.
I like it. And then now for this one, do we want to leave it short or long?
Well, ideally a little long.
A little long, yes. So if we go a little long, means we can get our putt that we want to see. And frankly, that means we should probably fly this on the green. But it needs a little bit of height, good committed swing. Very nice. Beautiful. That's not an easy one to get super, super tight, but in reality, that came out really clean, just the way we planned it. Okay. All right, we got a couple more here. Actually, we got one more. This is our last one. That other one was from somebody else there. Okay, so this one is kind of the one real oddball shot that we got.
Yeah.
So a little different than everything else we've had. So we got a lot of green to work with. We're still on a slight upslope, and we have an inclined area that we have to climb over the top to get to the flag. So what's the strategy?
I mean, you can always do bump and run, but then it's kind of probably harder to manage the distance on how far it's going to go up the hill.
So what's more important, that we get it into the far section, or that obviously that we, you know, are just barely climbing it over the top? Is it more about being in that second section?
Ideally, we want to be in the second section. Yeah.
Yes. So I would say let's just focus on that, right? That's the focus point, where we are just getting it on the green. We need something that's going to climb the hill without any risk of coming up short.
Okay.
Right? And then we still leave ourselves an uphill putt with a right to left if we go past the flag anyways.
Yeah.
So I'd look for definitely a bump and run here. The hill's automatically going to take some height, or add some height onto it. So really I'd go to
pitching wedge.
Probably pitching wedge here. Landing spot.
Maybe even up to a little farther than that, like by that leaf right by you. Yeah.
Right there?
Well, I was thinking, yeah, but isn't it going to break left?
Yeah, this is going to want to naturally turn a little left, I feel. So I think kind of in this general area, I like that, especially being on the upslope. I think that's great. Really good. Okay, so we got a lot of opportunities here, right? Really, there's only one that's kind of outside outside the area. We just got to protect ourselves. That should be one that, you know, we're protecting from 3-putting. But other than that, we got a lot of opportunities.